Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to my first video in the Halloween Month of Horror series that I'm going to be doing. I plan at least to be doing 5 videos a week until Halloween. I might actually stretch that into a few more videos at some point. I might do videos every single day of the month for all I know. I highly doubt that I will be doing that many videos, but I do have plans that stretch beyond the 5 videos a week that I've already set out to do. But I am ahead of schedule enough on this that I should be able to get most, if not all of these things done, and maybe even more, so we'll see. But for now, I wanted to talk to you about the first movie that I watched for Halloween this year, and that would be Alfred Hitchcock's The Lodger, which, as you may know, I picked up last year, late last year. I went on to Amazon.co.uk and picked this up with a couple of other titles that you can see behind me. I got this with The Third Man and Barton Fink, I believe, and I just bought it because I wanted to without even having a region-free player. Well, guess who got a region-free player just in time for Halloween? Yep. So this was actually the first movie that I watched in that region-free player to test to make sure that it worked. And oh my god. Oh, it looks so fucking gorgeous. I just have to BFI, British Film Institute. Applause to you. You did an amazing job restoring this film. And granted, it's not going to be perfect, right? It's not going to be like this perfect recreation of a fucking 1927 film that was about to, disintegrate into nothingness because of how long it had gone without any proper respect, These people literally saved this movie. So to them, much respect, and I really hope that they continue on with Hitchcock's earlier work. And I'm honestly very hopeful that they end up getting around to Champagne, because I absolutely love Champagne. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about The Lodger, which is arguably Hitchcock's first real suspense movie, if you will. When I look at all the movies that he did early on, like when you look at this set here that has a bunch of his movies from early on, right? Earlier on, you have things like, let's see, Easy Virtue, which is like a retelling of another story. The Manx Man, which is a romantic tale of intrigue involving a love triangle concerning 3 residents of the Isle of Man. So, yeah. We've got The Ring, which is a fighter boxes in small venues, and his marriage is eroding due to the advances of a champion fighter upon her. You've got, there's a bunch of stuff that he did around this time. Blackmail. A shopkeeper's daughter seeks to keep her involvement in a murder away from her Scotland Yard detective boyfriend. And then there's Champagne, like I mentioned, was 1928, came out, I think, a year after this one. But the point here is that a lot of his earlier movies were not actually suspense films. And this is one of the more notable earlier suspense films that he did. I'm almost positive that it is absolutely his first. So, yeah, very nice to have this on Blu-ray. Very nice to have the new restoration from British Film Institute. And quite honestly, having previously watched it on that set that I just showed you, the set does not do it justice. The copy that I have on the set does not do it justice. You really, there's a bunch of stuff that's cut out because it's like a public domain print. And it's honestly kind of hard to keep track of everything that's going on in the movie in that version. This restoration provides so much more information, and the quality of the film is such that it's so improved that you can actually see so much more detail, that you can actually understand the story a lot better and understand what's actually going on. So if you had trouble following the public domain print, I absolutely highly recommend this. You absolutely have to pick this up. If you don't have a region-free player and this Blu-ray, region-free player first, then get this Blu-ray, or, well, do it the way I did, get this one first and then get your region-free player. But whatever the case may be, this is a very nice set in addition to the fact that it comes with a beautiful restoration, and it includes the new soundtrack, the background music that they did for the movie. They did an entirely new score for the film. So it's not the original score, it's a new score, and that's something that a lot of people actually took issue with, which is kind of sad, but whatever. As I was watching originally, like when the movie starts, it's very much like an orchestral musical score. So I didn't really have a problem with it starting off. I'm like, why do people have a problem with this? What's the problem here? And then they get to a point in the movie where they start playing some tracks that are more, I guess what others have described as pop, new wave pop music. I wouldn't say it's new wave pop. I can see where people feel like it's pop music, but it's not really poppy enough for me, in my opinion. It's not really, doesn't really delve enough into that area for me. It still feels very much like an indie kind of music feel to it. But the thing that got me about it is, like, as I'm listening to it, like, yes, they've got somebody singing lyrics, and that kind of feels weird for a silent film. But the actual instruments that they're using in the background of all this, singing, are instruments that existed back then and were used for scoring films back then. So I can't really take too much of an issue. It's not like they brought in some synth shit and made it really fucking weird or something like that. Like, no, it's appropriate. It's period appropriate. Now, it's not entirely period appropriate because you've got people singing in the background, and don't think that really ever happened back in the day. But it's fairly appropriate. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I didn't really have too much of a problem with the music. I actually liked a lot of it, especially the earlier music in the film. And I can see myself actually listening to this soundtrack at some point. So, yeah, really cool. And I actually really enjoyed the movie a lot more this time around than I did when I watched it originally on that Mill Creek set. So, yeah, very happy to be able to revisit this on Blu-ray in high definition, new restoration from BFI. Very cool movie. And as I was watching it, I was seeing a lot of things that I felt like, wow, I've seen that before. And sure enough, like, there's a scene where they do a close-up of, like, the lodger, the main character in the movie, the title character, I should say. And they do, like, they're doing a zoom into his face, and his face is kind of covered a little bit. And it immediately reminded me of Dracula, of Universal's 1931 Dracula. And I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if Universal got that from The Lodger, or if they kind of borrowed from The Lodger. Because back in those days, back in the early days of film, that's what people did. They still do to this day, but it's readily apparent in those earlier films that people were borrowing from each other en masse because the art form hadn't really been established yet, and everybody was still just kind of trying to figure out how to tell a story with moving pictures. So everybody was borrowing ideas from everybody else, and it is entirely feasible that somebody saw The Lodger and then brought some of those ideas to their cinematography for something like Dracula. So, yeah, when I saw that, I was like, well, I know what I'm going to watch next. So sure enough, after this, I went to watch some Dracula. And I'll get on with the rest of that story in the next video. But for now, that'll do it for this one where I'm talking about The Lodger, and that's all this video is about, is me talking about The Lodger. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. Catch you later. Peace.